Marcus Chun wiped the sweat from his forehead as he guided his old hover tractor across the wheat fields of New Terra Colony. The twin suns hung low in the purple sky, casting long shadows across the golden grain that swayed in the evening breeze. After 15 years of farming on this remote world, Marcus had learned to appreciate these quiet moments before the chaos of harvest season began. The peace shattered when something massive crashed into his north field. The impact sent tremors through the ground that Marcus felt through the tractor's worn suspension. A column of black smoke rose from beyond the ridge, and the smell of burning metal drifted on the wind. Marcus killed the engine and grabbed his emergency kit from the storage compartment. As a former medic in the Colonial Defense Force, he still carried medical supplies wherever he went. He jogged toward the crash site, his boots crunching on the dry stalks that had been flattened by the shockwave. What he found defied everything he thought he knew about the galaxy. A sleek, organic-looking craft had carved a deep furrow through his field before coming to rest against a cluster of boulder trees. The ship's hull seemed to shimmer between colors, like oil on water, and steam hissed from multiple breach points. But what made Marcus stop in his tracks was the creature crawling from the wreckage. It stood nearly 12 feet tall, even while obviously injured. Its body was covered in scales that shifted from deep emerald to midnight blue, depending on how the light hit them. Powerful wings hung torn and useless from its shoulders, trailing silvery blood onto the scorched earth. The being's elongated head bore an unmistakable resemblance to the dragons from Earth's ancient legends, but its eyes held an intelligence that spoke of advanced civilization. The creature noticed Marcus and tried to rear back in a defensive posture, but collapsed with a sound somewhere between a growl and a whimper. Marcus could see deep gashes across its torso, where something had torn through what appeared to be advanced armor plating. The dragon soldier was dying. Every instinct told Marcus to run. First contact protocols existed for a reason, and harboring an unknown alien could bring serious consequences from colonial administration. But as he watched the magnificent being struggle for breath, his medic training overrode his caution. "Easy there, big guy," Marcus said softly, approaching with his hands visible. "I'm here to help." The dragon's head turned toward him, and Marcus found himself staring into eyes like liquid amber. There was pain there, but also surprise. The creature made a series of clicking and whistling sounds that Marcus couldn't understand, but the tone seemed questioning. Marcus knelt just outside what he estimated to be the dragon's reach and slowly opened his medical kit. "I don't know if our biology is compatible, but I've got to try." He held up a bioscanner, one of the more advanced pieces of equipment he'd kept from his military days. "This will tell me if I can help you." The dragon watched warily as Marcus activated the scanner. To his amazement, the device began registering data immediately. The readings were unlike anything in its database, but it clearly detected complex organ systems, a circulatory system, and neural activity. More importantly, it identified several compounds that human medications might affect. "Your blood chemistry isn't that different from some of the larger mammals back on Earth," Marcus muttered, more to calm himself than to communicate. "I think I can at least stabilize you." Working quickly, Marcus used surgical foam to seal the worst of the bleeding wounds. The dragon remained still during the treatment, though Marcus could feel those amber eyes tracking his every movement. When he injected a broad-spectrum painkiller near what he hoped was a major nerve cluster, the creature's breathing visibly eased. As the immediate crisis passed, Marcus sat back on his heels and really looked at what he was dealing with. The dragon's armor was unlike anything human technology could produce. It seemed to be grown rather than manufactured, with flowing lines that perfectly matched the wearer's anatomy. Symbols were etched into various plates, and Marcus suspected they indicated rank or unit designation. The crashed ship was equally impressive. Now that he could examine it more closely, Marcus realized it wasn't actually mechanical at all. The hull appeared to be some kind of living tissue, though unlike any biological material he'd ever seen. It was as if someone had bred a creature specifically to serve as a spacecraft. "You're military, aren't you?" Marcus said, gesturing toward the dragon's armor. That crash wasn't an accident. Someone shot you down. The dragon made more clicking sounds, then seemed to consider something. It raised one clawed hand to its throat and touched a small device attached there. Suddenly, words emerged in accented but clear human speech. You understand war, the dragon said, its voice a deep rumble that Marcus felt in his chest. Yes, I am Wing Commander Thessarian of the Draconic Hegemony 3rd Fleet. My squadron was ambushed by Void Hunters while on patrol. Marcus felt his blood run cold. He'd heard whispers about the Void Hunters from other colonists. They were supposed to be pirates or raiders who attacked isolated settlements. But if they were capable of taking down military craft like this, the threat was far worse than anyone had imagined. How many ships do they have? Marcus asked. 12 hunter-killers, Thessarian replied. My flight was 3. I am the only survivor. The dragon's great head lowered. They will return to search for wreckage. And they will find your settlement. Marcus's farm was only 20 kilometers from New Terra Colony's main township. 3,000 civilians, most of them families who'd come to this world seeking a peaceful life away from the crowded inner systems. If Void Hunters were coming, the colony's small security force wouldn't stand a chance. We need to get you somewhere safe, Marcus said, standing and shouldering his medical kit. My barn is big enough, and it's shielded against electromagnetic scans. Can you move? Thessarian tested his limbs carefully. The painkiller had clearly helped, though the dragon still moved with obvious pain. I can walk. But human, Marcus Chun. The dragon paused, and Marcus realized the creature must have read his name from his jacket. Why do you help me? Your people know nothing of mine. We could be enemies. Marcus considered the question as he helped the massive being to its feet. Because you're hurt, and it's the right thing to do. That's all the reason I need. Something changed in Thessarian's expression. The wariness remained, but it was joined by what Marcus could only describe as respect. The walk to the barn took nearly an hour. Marcus had to stop several times to let Thessarian rest, and by the time they reached the weathered building, both of them were exhausted. Marcus activated the barn's defense grid, a holdover from his military days that would mask their heat signatures and electromagnetic emissions from orbital scans. Inside the barn, surrounded by farm equipment and bales of harvest grain, the enormous dragon looked bizarrely out of place. But Thessarian moved with careful grace, settling into a corner where broken farming machinery provided some cover. Your injuries need proper medical attention, Marcus said, examining the bioscanner readings again. Some of these wounds are deeper than I thought, and you've lost a lot of blood. My kind heal quickly, given time, Thessarian replied. But you are correct. Without proper treatment, I will not survive long enough for my body to recover. Marcus made a decision that would change everything. There's a veterinary clinic in town. Dr. Sarah Kim is a friend of mine, and she's treated some pretty exotic species that colonists have brought as pets. She might be able to help. You would reveal my presence to another human. Sarah's good people. She took an oath to preserve life, same as any doctor. And besides, Marcus grinned, she's always complaining that treating livestock is boring. This would definitely cure that problem. Despite his pain, Thessarian made a sound that Marcus realized was laughter. You humans have a strange sense of humor in the face of danger. You haven't seen anything yet, Marcus replied. Wait here. I'll be back before dawn with help. As Marcus prepared to leave, Thessarian called out to him. Marcus Chun, you should know, the Void Hunters do not simply raid and leave. They harvest entire populations for the slave markets of the Dark Nebula. Your colony would be valuable to them. Marcus felt ice form in his stomach. How long before they come? Perhaps 3 days. Maybe 4. They will want to be certain no other hegemony forces are in this system before they move. 3 days to save 3,000 people. Marcus nodded grimly and headed for his vehicle. As he drove toward town, his mind raced through possibilities. The colony had some defensive capabilities, but Nothing that could stand against a fleet of ships capable of downing hegemony military craft. But maybe, just maybe, they didn't need to fight the Void Hunters. Maybe they needed to make sure the raiders found something unexpected when they arrived. The drive to town gave Marcus time to think. New Terra Colony had been established by refugees from the corporate wars, people who valued independence above comfort. Most of the colonists had military or technical backgrounds, and many had brought more than just